Good evening, everyone. Why do I like that? No. Good evening. This evening, we have a very special young lady by the name of Ayanna Johnson, an eighth grade student from Albert Cammon Middle, who will lead us in the prayer before our pledge. Miss Ayanna is quite an accomplished young lady. She has been on the Albert Cammon Principals list for 2 years and has achieved mastery and advanced on LEAP 2025. She is part of the Junior Beta Club, placing in the Share the Dream contest 3 years in a row. Miss Ayanna has also been a part of the Albert Cammon Cheer Squad for 3 years, 1 year as co-captain, and this year, captain. She sings in the Albert Cammon Middle Choir, is a part of the Albert Cammon Middle Talented Theater Group. She's going to be the production manager for their middle school program, high school musical?
High School Musical Juniors.
Woo-hoo, June, that's going to be awesome. And she's also a member of Girl Talk and Girls on the Run clubs. We are so honored to have you with us, Ms.
Thank
Johnson.
you.
Thank you for sharing your prayers with us this evening. Following that prayer, Mr. Art Oakman will lead us in the pledge.
Good evening. Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for blessing us with the opportunity to meet in person at tonight's board meeting as critical decisions are made that are in the best interest of my fellow students, our school, and our district as a whole. Lord, continue to impart your wisdom to our brave and bold board members regarding all school-related matters, especially those linked to our social-emotional wellness and academic achievement as we continue to persevere through the COVID-19 global pandemic. I pray, dear Lord, for our superintendent, Dr. Ken Ortling, our assistant superintendents, our executive staff members, all directors, principals, assistant principals, and most of all, I pray for our truly dedicated teachers as other support staff members that are forging forward each and every day you bring to us, Lord, despite the challenges we have faced and are likely to face in the future. We will continue to look over the hills because we trust you with our lives. Lord, in your most holy name, I pray, amen.
Amen.
To the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Miss Ayanna, thank you. You have blessed
Thank
us
you.
all, sweetheart. Thank you.
We're going to definitely see her here a lot.
Oh, I'm telling you.
I hope she wants to be a teacher, Ms. Johnson.
Definitely a gifted speech maker. She's awesome. Okay, now I call to order the St. Charles Parish Public School Board meeting on Wednesday, November 17th, 2021. For our roll call this evening, all board members are present. We also have joining us our superintendent, Dr. Ken Ortley, and our board secretary, Ms. Shelley Babineau. Welcome, one and all. We're going to begin this evening with our recognitions, starting with our service awards. The school board annually hosts a service awards program to recognize employees who have devoted years of service to this school system. Benchmarks of 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50 years are recognized. Employees are being honored at the board meeting this evening, and Dr. Ortling and I will go down to recognize each employee. Before we do that, I have to share that we had 91 employees who reached 25, 30, and 30 years serving the St. Charles Parish Public School System for a total of 2,070 years. That's quite an accomplishment. We're so happy to welcome all of our honorees tonight. Would you do the next one? Thank you.
For 20 years of service, Kim Bordelon. Christy Donaldson. Tammy Dennis. Lacey Ducey. Melissa Dewey. Tammy Duplessis. Jasper Farrig. Lori Fisher. Jessica Fletcher. Carla Grunberg. Leah Harper. Paula Haydel Janson. Shelley Herbert. Shonda Honor Harris. Mindy Jones. Shannon Pitchford. Aaron Sermon. Erica Spangler. Holly Thompson. Shawanda Wortham. And Carol Young. Melanie Zarang. For 25 years of service, Elaine Fitzgerald. Trisha Grau. Erica Jackson. Judy Lewis. Mark Martinez. Jennifer Matthews. Giovanna Mitchell. Mary Perilou. Zena Riley. Denise Robichaux. Ronnie Seal. Iris Smith. and Melissa Winner. And one of our special recognitions this evening for his years of service, Dr. Ken Ortling.
Item 2.02, Board and Superintendent's Recognition.
Students. Destrehan High School student was named a National Merit Scholarship Program semifinalist. Kaylee Carrigy. School system high school students were named to the Louisiana All-Academic Girls Volleyball Team. Sadie Rochelle from Destrehan High School. Sarah Roussel from Hornville High School. And Chloe Scheck-Snyder from Destrehan High School. Employees. Harry Hurst Middle School employee was named the 2021 Louisiana Middle School Counselor of the Year by the Louisiana School Counselor Association. Here to present more information is Executive Director of Equity and Student Support, Tamika Green.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Ortling, and audience members. It is with great pleasure that I, on behalf of Dr. Alice Cryer-Sumler, Counselors and Student Support Specialist, have the privilege of sharing some background information about Ms. Tina Chasson, Louisiana's 2021 Middle School Counselor of the Year. Ms. Chasson began her career as a math teacher in 1997, and since 1999 has served as a counselor in many different capacities. She has served as a counselor at J.B. Martin Middle School and is currently serving at Harry Hurst Middle School as counselor. She received her Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, her Master's of Psychological Counseling, and her Certification of School Counseling from Nicholls State University. She is a licensed professional counselor, clinical supervisor of professional counselors, and mediator for family and divorce. Ms. Chasson is a professional member of the American School Counseling Association and the Louisiana Counseling Association, has served on committees such as the St. Charles Parish Children and Youth Board and Creative Family Solutions Board, and has been named the Valero Volunteer of the Year board member. On behalf of the school board and superintendent, we congratulate you, Ms. Tina Chasson, Louisiana's 2021 Middle School Counselor of the Year.
If you're wondering what we're talking about, I'm sure you are. One of our employees, Mr. Ronnie Seal, who was here a little while ago, I feel like he probably still is. Huh? Pardon me? Oh, it's going to be next month. Well, it was on my agenda for this month, so we'll just celebrate him again. All right, well, I do want to congratulate all of our students for your honors, your efforts in academics and on the volleyball team. That's pretty special. Thank the parents and the grandparents who support our children in helping them to be the best they can be. And we certainly do congratulate Ms. Chasson for being the Louisiana Middle School Counselor of the Year. That's quite an honor. We are so happy to have her honored in such a way. So at this time, we're going to take a brief recess so that anyone who would like to leave at this time may. Of course, you're always invited to stay and join us for a whole business part of our meeting if you'd like to. But for a minute, we'll see if those who want to leave would like to take the time to do that now. Would be nice if I put the thing on. Item 3.01, minutes of the October 18th, 2021 committee meetings, October 20th, 2021 regular board meeting, and October 29th, 2021 board retreat.
Move approval.
Have a motion by Mr. Robichaux and a second by Mr. Smith. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.01 passes unanimously. Item 3.02, selection of school board liability insurance. The board purchases liability insurance to protect the district from claims brought against St. Charles Parish Public Schools by third parties. Current coverage is provided for general liability, excess liability, auto liability, educators' legal liability, employment practices liability, sexual abuse and molestation liability, bus physical damage liability, unmanned aerial vehicles, and cyber liability. The liability insurance coverage is set to expire on December the 1st, 2021. The Risk Management and Insurance Committee recommends continuation of the liability package and aviation coverage. The district will seek additional cyber liability quotes after implementing additional cyber security measures. This agenda item was reviewed at the Risk Management and Insurance Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal C of the board's strategic plan.
Madam President, I move we approve the renewal of the general liability insurance package and aviation liability, and also decline uninsured motorist coverage and authorize our risk manager, Darrenisha Gray, to sign for that uninsured motorist coverage. This is all at a cost of $507,804.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Robichaux and a second by Mr. Suffren. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to point out that the premium is lower, a nice chunk lower than what we discussed at our committee meeting,
Okay,
at a cost of $507,804.
thank you. Any other comments or discussion?
This
Hearing-
this
oh,
doesn't
sorry.
include the cyber.
It does not
We still have the
include the
cyber.
cyber.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.02 passes unanimously. Item 3.03. In 2016, the board approved the use of an enrollment firm to inform and enroll employees in the district's group and individual insurance products. The contract for the enrollment services was for a period of 3 years, which ended in 2019. Due to COVID-19, The new request for qualifications was delayed. This request for qualifications is for the 2022 through 2025 insurance enrollment period. This item was reviewed at the Risk Management and Insurance Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal C of the board's strategic plan.
Madam President, I move to authorize the request for qualifications for insurance enrollment services.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Robichaud and a second by Mr. Suffren. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.03 passes unanimously. Item 3.04, approval of third-party administrator. Requests for qualifications were requested for third-party administration services. The proposals were reviewed, evaluated, and scored by a committee based on the criteria set forth in the request for qualifications. Approval of the qualifications from Hammerman and Gaynor provides the district with high-quality services for the most reasonable cost. This item was reviewed at the Risk Management and Insurance Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and aligns with Goal B of the board's strategic action plan.
Madam President, I move we approve the qualifications for Hammerman and Grainer as the district's third-party administrator.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Robichaud and a second by Mr. Smith.
I want to mention it's at a cost of $55,000 annually. I do have a question. Ms. Gray, just for clarification, how long is this contract?
Mr. Robichaud, the contract will be for 1 year.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Just making sure.
Okay, any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.04 passes unanimously. Item 3.05, bid authorization request, HVAC replacement, St. Charles Parish School Board Central Office. The St. Charles Parish School Board Central Office HVAC replacement is an approved project of the 2021-22 Long Range Major Maintenance Capital Improvements Plan and 2019 Sales Tax Bond issue. The construction plans for the HVAC replacement have been completed by the engineer and are ready for bid. This agenda item was reviewed at the Capital Improvements Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal D of the board's strategic action plan.
Madam President, I move that we approve the bid authorization request for the HVAC replacement at the central office.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Alexander and a second by Mr. Nakam. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.05 passes unanimously. Item 3.06, ratification of change order number 3, Hahnville High School gym renovation and addition. The contract modifications included in change order number 3 are as follows. 1, fire caulking existing penetrations that were concealed above the existing ceiling at a cost of $5,309.59. 2, add window sprinklers for 2-hour fire protection at existing coaches' office windows on the boys' side and the girls' side of the gym at a cost of $10,508.94. The total cost for all changes is $15,818.53. Non-contract days were added for Phase 2 as a result of construction change directives. To prevent further delay of the project, authorization was given to the contractor to proceed with the work after getting approval from the board president, vice president, and capital improvements chairperson. Approval of this change order will allow the district to make the necessary modifications to the existing contract. This agenda item was reviewed at the Capital Improvements Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal D of the board's strategic action plan.
Madam President, I move that we accept ratification of change order number 3 for Hornville High School gym renovation and addition.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Alexander and a second by Mr. Nakam.
And that's in the amount of $15,818.53.
Thank you so much. Any further comment or discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.06 passes unanimously. Item 3.07, ratification of change order number 3, E.J. Landry Alternative Center roof, now known as E.J. Landry Educational Program Center replacement. The contract modifications included in change order number 3 are to provide and install plywood, insulation, membrane, and metal cap at 2 curbs. The total cost of all changes is $2,598. 62 contract days were added to the contract as a result of construction change directives. The added contract days reflect the roof modifications, adverse weather delays, and a time extension due to Hurricane Ida. To prevent further delay of the project, authorization was given to the contractor to proceed with the work after getting approval from the board president, vice president, and capital improvements chairperson. Approval of this change order will allow the district to make the necessary modifications to the existing contract. This agenda item was reviewed at the Capital Improvements Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal D of the board's strategic action plan.
Madam President, I move that we accept ratification of change order number 3 for the E.J. Landry Alternative Center roof replacement at a cost of $2,598.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Alexander and a second by Mr. Nakam. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. It's not coming up. You want to do a verbal vote? Okay, all in favor of item 3.07 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Item 3.07 passes unanimously. Item 3.08, bid acceptance purchase school buses. In a continuing effort to upgrade the parish-owned bus fleet, the Transportation Department sought bids for the purchase of 3 school buses, and 1 bid was received. The bid opening was held on Monday, November 1st, 2021. Kent Mitchell Bus Sales and Service Incorporated submitted the bid for 3 school buses equipped to transport students with special needs. This agenda item was reviewed at the Transportation Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal C of the board's strategic plan.
Madam President, I move that we accept the bid from Kent Mitchell Bus Sales and Service Incorporated for the purchase of 3 buses equipped to transport students with special needs at a cost of $332,826.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Oakland and a second by Mr. Suffren. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote.
Here we go.
Item 3.08 passes unanimously. Item 3.09. In a continuing effort to upgrade the parish-owned bus fleet, the Transportation Department sought bids for the lease purchase of 4 school buses through a lease purchase agreement, and 1 bid was received. The bid opening was held on Monday, November 1st, 2021. Kent Mitchell Bus Sales and Service Incorporated submitted the bid for the lease purchase of up to 4 school buses, 2 65-passenger buses, and 2 buses equipped to transport Head Start students. This agenda item was reviewed at the Transportation Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal C of the board's strategic action plan.
Madam President, I move we accept the bid from Kent Mitchell Bus Sales and Service Incorporated for the purchase of up to 4 school buses through a lease purchase agreement. That is 2 65-passenger buses and 2 buses equipped to transport Head Start students at a cost of 10 annual payments of $46,967.42.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Oquin and a second by Mr. Nakam. Do we have any discussion?
I have a question. Why
Yes,
does it, it say, 3 buses? And Mr. O'Quinn says 4 buses.
The 3 was on the other one, on the bid acceptance on
I'm
308.
wrong-
This
I'm on-
is,
I'm on the wrong one, I'm sorry.
oh, you're on the wrong, okay. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, this is a lease purchase,
sorry,
other with
I'm on the
straight
wrong
purchase.
page.
Okay,
Thanks.
that's okay, sure, thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Please cast your vote.
Computer's frozen.
Item 3.09 passes unanimously. Item 3.10, River Region Drama Guild Cooperative Endeavor Agreement. The River Region Drama Guild is seeking to enter a new cooperative endeavor agreement for the Good Hope property. This agenda item was reviewed at the Capital Improvements Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal D of the board's strategic action plan.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to modify the terms of the proposed cooperative endeavor agreement between River Region Drama Guild and the St. Charles Parish Public School. The proposed modification is to go from a 2-year agreement with a 4-year extension to a 2-year agreement with a 10-year extension.
And I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President, during our committee meeting on last Monday, we had considerable discussion regarding this item,
Yes.
and I was concerned about the implications of extending this to a 10-year agreement
Mhm.
as opposed to staying with the 4 years. Since that time, I have concluded that to extend the agreement to 10 years will not interfere with any plans that the board might have with regard to disposing of the property at a later date. So with that, I'm going to support moving that to a 10-year agreement. I think that that would in fact indicate to our public that it's our intention to work with them and collaborate with them in this artistic endeavor.
Thank you, sir. So I have a motion by Mr. Nakam and a second by Mr. Suffren to modify the cooperative endeavor agreement to go from a 2-year agreement with a 4-year extension to a 2-year agreement with a 10-year extension.
That's correct.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Do we do an oral vote on this one? No? We're going to cast your vote?
As I was about
change
to
it.
say, it's really not a, yeah,
Pardon me?
It's actually an option.
It's an option.
Extension.
An option.
Thank you. You are correct.
Extension.
Yes,
Right.
yes, it's with a 10-year option. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for that. Yes, thank you.
And that's why it would not,
Got you. I see. I
Okay.
understand. Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it. All right, we're now able to vote then on 3.10. There we go.
with the changes that were proposed.
With the
right?
changes that are proposed, yes. Item 3.10 passes unanimously. Item 3.11, revisions to Board Policy 1.03, School Admissions, second reading and adoption. Upon review of Board Policy 1.03, School Admissions, revisions were required. This agenda item was reviewed at the Personnel and Policy Committee meeting of the Board on Monday, October 18, 2021, and is aligned with Goal D of the Board's strategic plan.
Madam President, move that we accept the revisions to Board Policy 1.03, school admissions for a second reading and adoption.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Naka and a second by Mr. Savoy. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam President, could you give a synopsis of this, this board policy so the public would be aware?
I would ask Ms. Smith if she's available to do that for us. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Ortland. Basically, we had a practice for many years where we allowed parents, if they had childcare in a different district from where they lived, that they could apply for a waiver and their child would be able to do that if they met certain criteria. However, we never had it in our board policy. And so once we opened that up for non-residents, it just was, we had to do it for in-district. Any other questions?
No, Ms. Smith, just thank you for that description. I just asked that so the public would know a little bit more than board policy 1.03, exactly what it is. Thank you very much.
I understand.
I appreciate the clarification as well. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Do we have any further discussion or concern? Then please cast your vote. Item 3.11 passes unanimously. Item 3.12, revisions to policy 4.35, leave without pay, second reading and adoption. Upon review of Board Policy 4.35, leave without pay, significant revisions were required. Subsequent procedures were also revised. This agenda item was reviewed at the Personnel and Policy Committee meeting of the Board on Monday, October 18, 2021, and is aligned with Goal B of the Board's strategic action plan.
Madam President, move that we accept the revisions to Board Policy 4.35, leave without pay for a second reading and adoption.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Nakane and a second by Mr. Savoy. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.12 passes unanimously. Item 3.13, revisions to policy 4.29, retirement, first reading. Upon review of Board Policy 4.29, retirement, revisions were required in order to align policy with Office of Group Benefits eligibility requirements and with practice. This agenda item was reviewed at the Personnel and Policy Committee meeting of the Board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal B of the Board's strategic plan.
Madam President, I move that we accept the revisions to Board Policy 4.29, retirement for a first reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Naka and second by Mr. Savoy. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.13 passes unanimously. Item 3.14, revisions to policy 4.21 probation, first reading. Upon review of Board Policy 4.21 probation, significant revisions were required. This agenda item was reviewed at the Personnel and Policy Committee meeting of the Board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal B of the Board's Strategic Action Plan.
Madam President, I move that we accept the revisions to Board Policy 4.21, probation for a first reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Nakane, a second by Mr. Savoy. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.14 passes unanimously. Item 3.15, revisions to policy 4.28 resignation, first reading. Upon review of Board Policy 4.28 resignation, significant revisions were required. This agenda item was reviewed at the Personnel and Policy Committee meeting of the Board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal B of the Board's Strategic Action Plan.
Madam President, I move that we accept the revisions to Board Policy 4.28, resignations, for a first reading.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Nakane, a second by Mr. Savoy. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.15 passes unanimously. Item 3.16, revisions to policy and procedure 4.22, permanent status teachers and administrators, first reading. Upon review of Board Policy and Procedure 4.22, permanent status teachers and administrators, minor revisions including a title change were required. This agenda item was reviewed at the Personnel and Policy Committee meeting of the Board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal D of the Board's Strategic Plan.
Madam President, I move that we approve the revisions to Policy and Procedures 4.22, permanent status teachers and administrators, first reading.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Nakane, a second by Mr. Savoy. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.16 passes unanimously. Item 3.17, personnel items. Staffing management is necessary to maintain effective functioning of St. Charles Parish Public Schools. The Human Resources Department provides a staffing update monthly to the Board. This agenda item was reviewed at the Personnel and Policy Committee meeting of the Board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal B of the Board's Strategic Action Plan.
Madam President, I move that we approve our personnel items as presented by Mr. Truding on our Monday committee meeting, November the 15th.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Nakane and a second by Mr. Savoy. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.17 passes unanimously. Item 3.18, request for proposals, USDA Southeast Commodities Processing Cooperative Agreement. The Child Nutrition Program provides school cafeterias with the necessary food to serve nutritious meals. In order to have the best quality food, the district is requesting proposals for USDA Commodities Processing Cooperative Agreement. This agenda item was reviewed at the Finance and Audit Committee meeting of the Board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal C of the Board's Strategic Action Plan.
Madam President, I move that we approve the requests for proposals for the USDA Southeast Commodities Processing Cooperative Agreement.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Suffern and a second by Mr. Alexander. Do we have any questions or discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.18 passes unanimously. Item 3.19, proposal acceptance, disaster recovery project and grant management firm. The district has used the services of a firm to provide project management and grant management consultation following Hurricane Ida. These services were procured on an emergency basis, and this contract expires on November 30th, 2021. In order to procure the services of a firm after November 30th, 2021, the school board authorized the issuance of a request for proposals. A committee was formed to evaluate and score the proposals and recommends that CSRS, Disaster Recovery Management LLC, be selected to provide project and grant management services for disaster-related impacts to the district as needed for a period of 1 year. This agenda item was reviewed at the Finance and Audit Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal C of the board's Strategic Action Plan.
Madam President, let me preface my position with some remarks if it's agreed. As you recall, during our committee meeting on last Monday regarding this item, I had some concerns that were brought to the table at that time. Since Monday, I have had conversation with the superintendent regarding this item, and I believe that there's general agreement between the superintendent and I with regard to the remarks that I'm going to make with respect to this particular item.
Yes.
First of all, my remarks would focus on 3 separate proposals with regard to this. Proposal one would be that the board extend the contract of the existing provider by 2 months to allow the existing provider to complete the work that they're involved in at this particular time. Secondly, I would ask that whoever is the provider of the disaster relief services for the district going forward, that they be placed under the Finance Committee, since this item is heavily involved with financial concerns as it relates to disaster relief recovery. I suggest the Finance Committee. The board may want to put it under capital improvement. That would be up to you, but my recommendation would be that it be placed on the Finance Committee. Originally, I had intended to ask the board to table this item, but after giving considerable thought to the notion of tabling the item would not allow any discussion among the board. It would preclude that because there's no discussion on a motion to table. So what I am going to ask is that we remain the item back to the superintendent with the following stipulations. One, that the superintendent brings to the board the top 3 candidates and arrange for the top 3 candidates who submitted proposals as listed in the document that the superintendent provided, arrange for those providers to make a presentation to the board. Following that, the board would make a selection of the final provider at a board meeting in the future.
So Mr. Smith, is your motion at this time to extend the contract, to extend the relationship we have with that firm for 2 months?
For 2 months.
Okay, and then to follow up with your other proposal?
Correct.
If that's your motion to extend
Correct.
extend the
And-
contract, I'll second that motion.
Correct. And according with my conversation with the superintendent, he indicated that 2 months should be adequate. And if it is not adequate, we still have the option to extend further.
Madam President, let me make a comment. When I look at the list of vendors that was submitted to us, I'm sorry. When I look at the list of vendors that was submitted to this agenda item, there are 5 that were within 3 points of one another. Could we not look at all those 5? And the one that scored like in the 40s would not be asked to come back, because I don't think there'd be any change from that one. But I think we ought to at least give those 5 other folks an opportunity to address the board with their proposals to see if that would work. And I think and the rest of the board members are not gonna know this, but Mr. Smith would. Many years ago, back in the 90s, I think, we were doing an energy management contract, and we had 5 vendors who came in and made presentations to the board at that time, and consequently chose the vendor that we have now. But I think the discussion was very lively, and I think the presentations were well worth it for us to sit in on. So I'd ask Mr. Smith if he would maybe make the change instead of 3 to bring 5 in.
I would have no objection to 5. I only suggested 3 because customarily that's what we do, 3. But if the board wishes to do 5, I'm fine with that. I just think that the board, this is with the amount of disasters that we're having and the cost of these disasters to the district, that the board has to be in a more hands-on position as it relates to that. And there's got to be a joint partnership between the vendor, the board, and the superintendent as we move forward. And just like we require all of our other service providers, such as our board attorneys, our insurance providers, and so forth, to come before the board every month at a committee meeting to update the board, then this group would do the same. And the board would continuously be on top of this whole thing. As you know, we've got a lot of money out there already. We've got a lot of money that we're looking to FEMA to get back for us. And this is a situation that the board definitely needs to be hands-on as it
And better
relates to.
apprised of what's going
Correct.
on. Thank you, sir. All
You know,
right.
I think it's important. I mean, I think everyone's felt the impacts of Hurricane Ida, even with their homes, in their own insurance and different things. So I think this is a very important decision we do make, and I can support, the 5 different, the motion that's on the table because of that. I mean, everybody's dealing with this at home as well. So yeah, I think it's an important decision that we as the board have to make, and it'd be a good thing to do.
Okay. Any further comments or discussion? All right, so the motion that is on the table is for the board to extend the contract with CSRS by 2 months so they can complete their current work. And that we will bring forward the top 5 of vendors who have already been through.
That
the-
doesn't need to
You
be
don't need to put
included
that
in
in?
the motion because we're going to remand it back
Oh,
to, back. Yeah,
to
that's why I
superintendent.
didn't want to.
Oh, okay,
table
that's
it.
why you didn't, okay.
Right.
gotcha.
Extend the contract.
2 years.
I mean, a
2-month.
All right, so the motion, okay, the motion is to extend the contract of CSRS by 2 months to complete the current work, and then we will remand the item back to the superintendent. Okay, great, all right. Do we need an oral vote, Ms. Shelley, or are you good?
Got it in there.
All right,
Correct.
yes, correct. Mhm. It's not coming up. We'll do an oral.
We can do it.
No.
Huh?
We can do it.
Let's do an oral vote, please. Oh, it's up now?
Not for me.
It's,
I got it. Will come.
Okay,
Yep.
Okay.
okay.
We can all do
Just having a little bit of trouble getting through the system, that's all.
Raise your hand.
Item 3.19 passes unanimously. Thank you for the suggestion, Mr. Smith. Item 3.20, request for proposal salary study. In order to ensure that the district's employee compensation, benefits, and salary structure provide the best opportunity for the district to attract and retain the most qualified employees and to achieve equity and efficient administration, a qualified firm should be hired to perform a comprehensive study of the district's compensation system. Issuing a request for proposals will help to ensure that the district is able to procure the best qualified firm to provide these services. This agenda item was reviewed at the Finance and Audit Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with goals B and C of the board's strategic action plan.
Madam President, I move that we approve the requests for proposals for conducting a salary study.
second.
I have a motion by Mr. Suffren and a second by Mr. Alexander. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.20 passes unanimously. Item 3.21, accounts payable for the month of October 2021. Invoices and other financial obligations of the school district are customarily paid weekly. Request for approval of these transactions is normally made to the board monthly. The board must approve expenditures of public funds under its jurisdiction. This agenda item was reviewed at the Finance and Audit Committee meeting of the board on Monday, November 15, 2021, and is aligned with Goal C of the board's strategic action plan.
Madam President, I move that we approve the accounts payable for the month of October 2021 in the total amount of $10,356,940.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Suffren and a second by Mr. Robichaud. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Item 3.21 passes unanimously. Moving on to our closing items. Item 4.01, standing committee reports. The chair will now hear from any committee chairpersons who would like to report on your committee's activities.
Madam President, on Monday, November 15th, the Capital Improvements Committee met. Committee members are Mr. Dennis Knockan, Mr. Al Suffren, and myself. There were 6 items on the agenda. 2 were for committee meeting only. They were the school board's redistricting plan and the Good Hope School property update. The other 4 items were reviewed and were approved tonight. They were: one, bid authorization request for HVAC replacement for central office. The second item is ratification of change order number 3 for the Hornville High School gym renovation. The third item is ratification of change order number 3 for the E.J. Landry Alternative Center roof replacement. And the final item was the River Region Drama Guild Cooperative Endeavor Agreement. Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander.
You're welcome.
Madam President, the Personnel and Policy Committee met Monday, the 15th. Members of the committee are Mr. Savoy, Mr. Smith, and myself. On Monday, we reviewed 5 items as presented and assisted with by Mr. Truding. First item was personnel items. Second item was revision of policy and procedures 4.22, permanent status teachers and administrators, first reading. Third item was revisions to policy 4.28, resignation, first reading. Next item was revisions to policy 4.28, revisions to policy 4.21, probation, first reading, and revision to policy 4.29, retirement, first reading. Other items on the agenda this evening were revisions to policy 4.35, leave without pay, the second reading and adoption, along with revisions to board policy 1.03, school admissions, second reading and adoption. Madam President, all those items were brought to the board table tonight and approved. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Nakam.
Madam President, the Finance and Audit Committee held a meeting on Monday, November 15th, and members of the committee besides myself are Mr. Alexander and Mr. Robichaud. The committee during Monday's meeting covered 4 items, and all 4 of those items came to the full board during this meeting and were acted on. Those 4 items were the request for proposals for the USDA Southeast Commodities Process and Cooperative Agreement, the proposal acceptance for the project management firm, the request for proposals for the salary study, and accounts payable for the month of October 2021. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Suffren.
Madam President, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Madam President, the Legislative Committee met twice this month, on November 8th, Monday, November 8th, and we met last Monday to consider a response to the Louisiana School Boards Association withdrawal from the National Association. All members were present at that meeting, at those meetings, including an invited guest, Mr. Clarence Savoy, who, Board Member Savoy, was invited as a resource person to assist with information regarding the National School Boards Association. The committee came back with a number of recommendations to the board. One was that we delay any further action with regard to our status with LSBA until at least 45 days prior to the next enrollment period. During that time, we will be looking at all of the changes, all of the kinds of things that will be taking place. In addition to that, we're going to be looking at other options for the board to carry out its work as board members. With that, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Madam President, the Risk Management and Insurance Committee met. We had four items on the agenda. 3 of them we approved tonight. One, we selected the board liability insurance, and we approved the third-party administrator for our workers' comp. We also had an item for to review the request for qualifications for an insurance enrollment services. The last item was for committee only to look at the revisions of a procedure 4.60R workers' compensation. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Robichaud.
Madam President, the Transportation Committee met. Members of that committee and myself, Madam President, Mr. Smith, and we had 2 items to discuss. One was a purchase bus agreement and a lease purchase agreement. Both those were brought to the board table tonight and approved. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Oakland. Moving on to item 4.02, our superintendent's report. Dr. Ortling.
Thank you, Madam President. Both the Destrehan and Honville High School marching bands competed in the Louisiana Showcase of Marching Bands in Lafayette on November 6th and the LMEA District 7 Marching Festival on November 9th, receiving rave reviews from judges for their presence and top-notch performances after only 2 weeks of preparation in the wake of Hurricane Ida. On November 5th, 60 4th through 8th grade band students from across the district were invited for a hands-on clinic with a quintet from the Ellis Marcellus Jazz Orchestra of New Orleans. Included in this event, the Satellite Center's dance students took part in a jazz workshop with Miss Lula Elzy of the Lula Elzy Dance Theater. Students participated with renowned jazz performers, creating jazz tunes and dance works in the style and in response to the music of Ellis Marcellus. On November 10th, J.B. Martin's 7th and 8th grade band and 8th grade choir were invited to assist in leading the parish government's annual Veterans Day ceremony, honoring our local servicemen and women with their performances. On Friday, November 12th, 65 talented music students from across the district participated in an art experience event close to you, the Music of the Carpenters, where they attended a performance by the tribute group and engaged in a talkback session with performers, learning about the music of the Carpenters and about the professional lives of the performers who make a living as touring musicians. As far as sports go, Destrehan High finished the football season with a perfect 6-0 record and were crowned district champions. They defeated West Jeff High School in the first round of the playoffs and will play Woodlawn High School Friday, November 19th at 7 p.m. in Wildcat Stadium. Honville High School finished the season 5-2 and fell to Benton High School in the first round of the playoffs. Both Honville and Destrehan High School swim teams are headed to Sulphur for the state swim meet on November 19th and 20th. The Honville High School volleyball team finished the regular season 18-9 and advanced to the first round of the playoffs where they fell to Lafayette. The Destrehan High volleyball team finished the regular season 16-10. They advanced to the first round of the playoffs where they fell to Central of Baton Rouge. Destrehan High girls and Honville High boys cross-country teams also advanced to the state cross-country meet in Natchitoches. As a reminder, school buildings are closed for the Thanksgiving holidays beginning November 22nd through the 26th. November 22nd and 23rd are considered asynchronous learning days as a result of Hurricane Ida. These days are meant to make up lost learning. Students are expected to complete assigned learning tasks from their teachers before they return to school on November 29th. On behalf of our school board, myself, and our entire school system, we would like to express our heartfelt thanks to all the families and community of St. Charles Parish for your support of our AAA school system. We are thankful and blessed to have your continued patience, flexibility, and understanding in overcoming so many challenges so far this school year. We genuinely appreciate your trust to educate, support, and care for your children, our students. You and I, we are St. Charles Parish Public Schools. Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Ortling.
Move adjourn.
I have a motion by Mr. Robichaud and a second by Mr. Nakhan to adjourn. All in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.